Welcome to the Just Happy to Be Here podcast. It's me, Tanner, and as always, I am just happy to be here. This is episode 51. Before we begin, thank you so much for listening to our podcast. We love getting to record these conversations and we love sharing them with you. So thank you for your kind messages. Thank you for your feedback. We appreciate you greatly. And if you would like to send us a message or shoot us a topic that you'd like for Taylor and I to discuss, you can send us an email at writtentospeak@gmail.com. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but we love to get mail. Who doesn't like to get mail? So send us a message to writtentospeak@gmail.com. Before we jump into this episode, I would like to take a moment to say thank you to the Written to Speak patrons for making this podcast and so many other things possible. If you would like to support the mission of Written to Speak, you can visit writtentospeak.com and hit the Patreon tab. Over the last few weeks, I've been sharing new writings and videos, as well as insights about my upcoming book. So again, that's patreon.com/writtentospeak or the Patreon tab at writtentospeak.com. All right, that's enough. Let's jump into episode 51 of the Just Happy to Be Here podcast.
Just happy to be here.
You can see your voice.
I can see it registering as it's being recorded. Better explained.
When I was younger, and as I mentioned on every episode of the podcast, I grew up in Florida. But we didn't have cold days very often. But there were those, random mornings in the winter when you could see your breath.
Oh, yeah.
And when I was just first discovering what winter was, I would say, I can see my words. Because that's what I thought that it was. Turns out it's not, and I was just a special child growing up in the state of Florida.
Oh, man. Well, it's Florida.
Yes, it is very much so. Florida. Oh, and look what the crop that it produced. Anyways, today's May 6th. And Yesterday probably would have been a much better day to have a podcast because it was Cinco de Mayo, and there were so many things that we could have talked about. Today's May 6th. Maybe one day we'll have a podcast where we record it on May 5th, but not this year. And today there's a couple of national things that we need to hit, that we'll need to talk about, and probably some things that we shouldn't talk about, but we're going to anyways. Today is National Nurses Day, and it goes without saying, but we have to say it because it's true. I don't know where we would be this past year, if it wasn't for nurses. So,
very thankful.
just like mothers, just like doctors, just like first responders. Like, I feel like those are the people that need to be celebrated every single day. Mm-hmm. Also wives, and I would venture to throw in dogs as well. So I think that they get every day is like a national day for them.
Yes, absolutely.
But apparently that's still up for debate.
Or they've gotten 8 of them that we just don't know about, because I feel like we've run into that before too.
Oh yeah, and today's obviously National Wine Day because National Wine Day happens 13 times throughout the year. It's not, but it is in some ways because today's also National Beverage Day. So
just keeping it.
Yeah.
In the general.
You know what I've learned over the last couple of weeks? Staying hydrated is a full-time job. And
it sure is.
Now, it's a full-time job with benefits because you feel better, but you also are and then you also get your exercise too because you're well, I have to get up and go to the bathroom again for the third time. For the third time this hour, I am washing my hands again.
Yeah. Do
you have, and this is a very elementary school question, but I think those are the only kind of questions that I have.
Love it.
But do you have a favorite beverage?
Favorite beverage?
You know what? That's a super broad question. Here's the setting. It's winter.
Yes.
And you're cold.
Yep.
But it's the afternoon. It's 3:00. Mm-hmm. What do you have to drink then?
Am I at home?
You're at home.
Okay. Very nice. Then I am going to cuddle up on the couch with a steamy mug of wassail. Some have called it wassail, but have you heard of wassail?
No.
So basically, it's kind of just mostly apple cider, and then you get some type of citrus. Orange is common, and then you throw in like a cinnamon stick, or several cinnamon sticks if you make a big pot of it. And you just get that nice and hot, and it is delicious, man. Nothing tastes more kind of like Christmassy and wintry to me than a nice steaming cup of wassail.
You know, for all the things that you could have said, I never would have thought, because I didn't know it was actually an actual drink or beverage, I never thought that you would say something like that. So great. Okay, now let's go to summer. What would you do if it was the summertime?
Oh,
you're
summer,
at home,
yeah,
and it's 5:45 in the evening, late afternoon.
Summer is so easy. I don't even have to take a second further with this already unreasonably long explanation.
Code Red Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew Code Red. Not even a question. No, I'm going sweet tea every time, man.
Yes.
Sweet tea. Especially if I can snag some from like a Chick-fil-A, like a nearby Chick-fil-A. I'm grabbing that sweet tea.
What are your thoughts on iced tea?
Just like ice unsweetened tea?
Yes.
So there are a lot of people from the South, and I was born in the South, Tennessee. There are a lot of people who are offended by even the thought of unsweet tea. I am at a place in my life where obviously I'm going to prefer the sweet version, but there are some days where I like a glass of just like cool, refreshing, unsweet iced tea. It's good.
Well, that's where you're wrong, because it's not good. It is. You're such a kind person. It's absolute garbage. I can't. There's like you taste it and you're like, okay, what is it missing? Because there's something missing.
Sugar.
Like, something good. That's what it's missing. It's like it is just like it's a low fat something. Does not have a place anywhere near me. I can remember people were like, oh, you want some iced tea? And I didn't. This was before I knew that I could be rude to people. And I would say yes. And then the game became, how do I dump this out? Do I knock it over? Do I spill it on myself? Like, how do I go about doing this? Because I don't like it, and my body just doesn't want it. It doesn't want it, not even in the least bit. So, I guess half of this podcast is an iced tea podcast.
Dang.
However,
people did not realize how spicy this episode was going to be.
Oh, it's super spicy, my friend. Now, have you had an Arnold Palmer from Chick-fil-A, or just in general? I'm sure you have.
Oh,
right? Half sweet tea, half lemonade?
Yes, both and. Chick-fil-A and just out in the wild making it myself.
Quite hard to say no to that.
Yeah. Oh,
quite hard. Very easy. On the other hand, it's very easy to say yes to that.
Yes. You're absolutely right. Now, you've got ahead. Did you have
I said now first. So,
yeah, you do it.
Now, fun fact about us that maybe the listeners don't know, we both have served, I'm not going to say worked, we both have served at Chick-fil-A.
Yes.
Did you ever have the pleasure, obviously, of making the sweet tea or the lemonade?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I was responsible for that pretty regularly, and it was a joy, because I know that I was setting myself up for my break with free food later. Also,
the thing that got me while making the sweet tea and the lemonade and the diet lemonade was the amount of sugar that we put into this.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable.
Now, it is. It is a lot of sugar. Like, while I was being taught how to make it, I can remember me looking at the person who was training me, and I said, is this enough? And they were like, no, more. And I would add more. And I would say, is this enough? And they'd say, no, more. And I would say, is this enough? And they would say, no, more. Add more. And it was like, you know what? I feel like I'm committing a crime by the amount of sugar that I'm adding to the sweet tea and the lemonade. So when I go to Chick-fil-A, I order the diet lemonade because I'm pretty sure that's just regular lemonade because it's just a ton of sugar all over the place.
Oh man, it's so true. But here's a question for you. With the Arnold Palmer, is it then acceptable to use unsweet tea, or is that still off the table for you?
It's like if I can't tell the difference because you've used a lot of sugar in it no matter what, that's fine. It's fine. But man, that's the thing. That's what I was saying earlier, right? Iced tea, it's missing something. It is missing. It's an ingredient. It is not the final product. Needs something else. Can't stand by itself. Needs to have something around it. Needs to go. You can't go on a date by yourself. And iced tea needs a partner. That's all that I'm saying when it comes to that. Also, today happens to be World Password Day.
I think I saw this somewhere, and I feel like I asked this question a lot during this segment, but I just have to ask, why?
That's the thing. This is the thing. I don't know why. Maybe it's like one of those reminders that you need to change your password, or I don't know. But I will tell you this, that World Password Day clearly makes for a great comment, great section on a podcast, as we are proving right now with World Password Day. Now, here's something that I kind of want to get into, and it might be important. Today it's National Day of Prayer, but it's also National Day of Reason. My friend, we've got a battle going on here, right? Now, I will say this. National Day of Prayer is today. I would venture to say it is every day, at least for us. Also, National Day of Reason, you might be asking yourself, hey, what's that? I really wish that Tanner or Taylor would tell me more about it. Well, good thing you're thinking about that. Here's what the website says. According to the organizers of the day, the National Day of Prayer violates the First Amendment to the United States Constitution because it asks federal, state, and local government entities to set aside tax dollar-supported time and space to engage in religious ceremonies. Interesting. It continues to say this. The First Amendment of the United States Constitution reads, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Furthermore, it says this. This is the last thing that I'll read, I'll promise.
Yeah.
It says, the day is a secular observance for atheists, humanists, and secularists to set to coincide with the National Day of Prayer. It acknowledges that celebration occurs for those who do not recognize God or an established religion of faith. So basically, that is just another day. There we go.
Right. That we
I feel like
to observe.
I feel like we just evened it out, right? Or, National Day of Prayer is evened out by National Day of Reason, so we just have National Day.
National Day.
And that is how America works.
And I would throw a little bit of a wrench into the spokes here with saying if today is a National Day of Reason to be separated from any recognition of God, I believe that was in the last thing you read, then where are we grabbing? I would ask the question, and maybe for those who are even wrestling listening to the podcast, where do we get the idea of reason if there is no origin for reason?
Yeah, I feel like that's a rhetorical question, so I'm not going to try to answer that. These sort of serious conversations really throw me for a loop. I'm better off with a joke or a limerick of some sort. However, I will say it is, it's always interesting when you try to put something on someone else, or you try to create something really kind of out of nothing, like, oh, today's just going to be National Day of Prayer, this is it. And it's hard when things kind of cross lines, and that leaves people who, like you and I, believers, who are like, well, we didn't create this National Day of Prayer.
Right.
I mean, I'm not against it, but also I can see why some people would not be for it. But again, I did not create this day, but I'm going to observe it because I pray every day, except for that one day last week. It was a rough day. But
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? There's just something interesting about it. And so it's kind of difficult when people who from, many moons ago instituted this day and said, well, this is what it's going to be like. But for, folks like you and I, it's like, well, it's good, but is this the right thing? And I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just something to wonder about or to wrestle with. Don't think I'm going to be doing anything about it.
Right.
Because I'm going to observe National Day of Prayer the same way that I observe Mondays and Thursdays. And, say I'm going to pray.
Right.
So,
well, and it's good to remember, too, that with stuff like this as well, it's like a National Day of Prayer was not in place for any, like, early believers in Rome. We've got brothers and sisters all across the world who live in countries where that would never be a thing, and that is not hindering in the slightest their relationship with God, because it's not, we've talked about this before, the kingdom of God is not bound by the borders of a nation or bound by kind of governmental systems. And so, we did not put it in place. And I bring up the National Day of Reason thing because I love to talk about that. I think it's God beautifully designed reason to eventually, in a way, bring us back to Himself, because there does have to be that origin for reason. And so I think it's an interesting thing to dive into and tackle. But yeah, the National Day of Prayer and stuff, that's, we're gonna I think you put it well, Tanner. We're gonna celebrate that as believers. We're encouraged and commanded to be praying without ceasing, and so that's we could have it, we could not have it, and we'd still be praying.
Exactly, and like you noted. I always feel fancy when I say someone, oh, like you noted. But like you noted, this is only happening in the United States of America. The rest of the world is not observing it. Like, they're observing World Password Day. So, because you need passwords all over. Yeah, it is just a fascinating thing, though. And I brought it up because, like, there's National Day of Prayer and there's National Day of Reason, and it's just like, okay, well, we're having another day here. But you did just say something that I've been thinking about earlier this week, is to pray without ceasing. And I can remember back in college, I was reading, I came across the verse, read it, because I know how to read. Don't want to brag about it, but I do. And
it's too late for that, my friend. You already have.
Too late for that. I guess I kind of showed off earlier as I read about National Day of Reason, but you know what? I'll be looking for that trophy in the mail. But that verse, to pray without ceasing, I always find it so fascinating, and I just kind of wonder, for you at least, like, what does that look like for you?
Yeah. Well, I think, and if you dig into what Paul is talking about there in 1 Thessalonians 5, he is addressing things with Thessalonian church was early in their development, so you've got a lot of early believers. You've got believers who also thought, based on they had a lot of people coming in, and a lot of very skilled orators, very smart people coming in and saying that the day of the Lord had already come. And so Paul is trying to, in a way, kind of bring them back to some basics and lean themselves back into what they were taught at first, and to remember what they were taught at first. And so where Paul is driving them, and then us by extension through the benefit of the Word of God for me, this shows up of just this knowing that the Holy Spirit goes with you.
Right.
We are indwelt by the Holy Spirit, and it's this awareness of constantly kind of bringing him into and praying to the Father by way of Christ Jesus, by way of the Spirit indwelling us, that we. And I'm sorry, we're doing some dog sitting, so if our listeners hear some growling, we've got a dog. So apologies.
How do we not start the podcast with the fact that you had a dog and we didn't do an interview?
I don't know. Definitely a missed opportunity, and I apologize because as we established, this is the 17th Dog Day. National Dog Day of the year.
National Dog Day, yeah. Actually, it's I believe it's probably World Dog Day at this point. So that's observed worldly.
Absolutely. But for me, this just looks like I am bringing God into and He's already there. But right. Basically, I am practicing an awareness of God in my every moment. If I'm to be living my life, as 1 Corinthians 10:31, Paul talks about living my life, doing all things unto the glory of God, then I want my awareness, I want my thoughts. Paul also addresses this in Philippians 4:8. Where are my thoughts going? On those things that are pure, lovely, just, all that big list. That I am praying in this, and it is a thing that we grow in, I believe, but it's an awareness of God and praying and having that come out of, like, we tend to compartmentalize, and I think it's good and right to have set aside times of prayer, but living our lives before God and acknowledging mindfully and prayerfully that He is with us in every moment of the day. And that's kind of how it looks for me. Is as I get better, I'm praying for my coworkers. I'm praying for the thing that I'm doing. I'm praying over my own heart that I react well to the people around me and treat them as fellow image bearers. So it's kind of just engaging the world around you prayerfully, is at least for me.
Yeah, no, I really like that. And as I had read that verse and read it again and again, I think at first you see it and you're like, well, I got to be praying at all times. Well, yes, but it's not like, head bowed, eyes closed, hands
right.
folded. Like, it's going to be hard to really live if that's how you're going about at, your life at all times. Like, if you don't have your hands or you don't have your eyes open, it's going to be really hard to live. But it's like, it's like you're, you mentioned, like, it's walking in the Spirit. It's living your life as an offering, living out the invitation of His love and His grace. And I think there's just something really beautiful about that. And, Christian buzzword alert, but to be kind of intentional about that as you wake up and as you go through your day. And I found that interesting. So anyways, happy National Day of Prayer and happy National Day of Reason to you, my friend. With that, Taylor, let's go back to the internet. What have you recently Googled?
Yes. What have I recently Googled?
What haven't I recently Googled?
What
That's
haven't
probably a better thing.
Yeah. What corner of Google do we want to talk about? Let's see. So I Googled. Actually, I've been Googling this quite a bit, and then, this translated to going directly to a website, but I Googled Moody Bible Institute because Tanner, I'm going back to school. Hopefully. And by going back to school, I mean going back to online school. Hopefully. And right now I'm because I did some schooling through Moody Bible Institute's online program. 7 years ago now. Oof. We're old enough to be saying stuff like that.
Yeah, we're old enough to be saying 7 years ago when I was already an adult.
Ugh. Yeah, when I was already there. And took a couple classes with them, but that was actually just shortly before I moved to Texas. And so it was not that I didn't want to continue. It was just a lot of life change at the time. And I kind of have finally gotten back to a spot where in life where I'm able to take classes again. And so in the middle of the reapplication process, and the what's that called? When they say, yes, you can come to our school.
You've been accepted?
Accepted!
The acceptance.
It's been a minute since I've applied for school things.
That's a college word for you.
That is a college word.
And also a movie about college. Accepted.
Is it really?
Yeah, do you remember that movie from when we were in probably high school?
Accepted. I don't know. Accepted.
You know movies way better than most people I know. You don't know the movie Accepted? I'm pretty sure Justin Long is in it. I think that's his name.
Justin Long.
He's in it.
That does ring a bell. I never saw it, but I think I saw some trailers for it.
There's in the trailer, I believe he's a male cheerleader and he gets absolutely annihilated. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. That is not something that we should be talking about on World Password Day. That's for sure. Well, congratulations on going back to school, man. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I'm not reaccepted just yet. But
but you will be. But you will be. If there's anything that and this is not to diminish you or your intelligence, but if there's anything I know about Christian colleges, they will accept just about anybody who wants to pay. So, now you are qualified for several universities, institutes, whatever it may be. So don't hear that as a negative thing. Because I also that's also how I went to college. So let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
I look forward to hearing all the... Nope, not yet. I look forward to hearing all the updates of the things that you're learning. We're going to have future moments on the podcast. I'm dreaming right now where you just say, hey, Taylor, tell us what you're learning in school. And you're just going to be able to blow our minds. And then I will tell you something that I'm learning. And you'll be like, you didn't already know that? And I'll be like, no. For example, what I happened to Google this week is...
you're not going to let me ask it. I was going to ask it, but I did it too soon, and now I missed my opportunity.
You missed it. Well, this probably won't be our last time. So, anyways.
I guess not.
I Googled, and this is embarrassing, and this is also not the first time I've Googled this, but what goes with a blue blazer? Now, I'm not talking about the car. I'm talking about the jacket that you wear on your body.
Oh, yeah.
This weekend, I have a wedding to go to. Well, it's a wedding reception. They got married during the pandemic. Yada, yada, yada. Excited about it. But turns out you can't wear sweatpants to a wedding reception. And
what?
Also, you can't wear just like plain black pants, which is what I usually wear. They're like jeans, but they're not jeans. Anyways.
Yeah.
So I Googled what goes with a blue blazer because I have one. And I also tried on all of the pants that I own, all the dress pants that I own. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that, I really can't believe it, but summer was 2 pant sizes ago. So I had to go buy new pants. I had to go buy a new shirt to match the pants and the jacket. And I thought, okay, this is great. I went to the mall, which is just... Man, I should have gone on National Day of Prayer, let me just say that, because I did not want to go to there, and it was awful. But I made it through after like an hour and a half. I tried on so many pairs of pants, Taylor. It was awful. And every time I tried on pants, I was like, this wouldn't have happened if you would have just gotten off the couch, I don't know, once during the pandemic. So the whole time I'm kicking myself and trying on pants. And, but anyways, I got my outfit. I come home and I'm like, all right, I'll put it all on. So I grab a belt from my drawer.
Oh, yeah.
Turns out, if you need new pants, guess what you're also going to need?
Probably
a new belt. And so it was like, kick a man while he's down. Yeah. So anyways, I'm back on the workout train. I'm back on the eating healthy train. Mm-hmm. I'm back on all the trains that I don't really want to be on.
Yeah.
The train that I wish had already been riding on is the train of metabolism, where you don't really have to do anything. You just kind of get to ride.
Yeah.
But
it's a good train.
we mentioned this when you turned 30 a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
It all just kind of ends. The train just comes to a stop. And you're left sitting there like, well, I guess I got to buy new pants now. And you do. And I did. And anyways, I've had to give myself a lot of pep talks this past week. Little bits of encouragement, reminding myself this isn't the end. You're going to get through this. And yeah. It was, let me just say this. It was an emotional roller coaster of a week because of pants.
Yeah.
So.
Man, I hear you.
Yeah.
There's so many shirts that I'm hanging on to right now where I'm like, if I really give it my all for 2 months, I can almost fit back into that shirt.
100%.
Almost.
Yep.
If I stick to that Nike Run Club app, not a sponsor, but I can give it a shot.
You know what, Taylor? We're going to do this. We're going to be back in shape. It's going to be okay. Have you been doing the HasFit videos? Have you cranked those back out?
So I did one today, actually.
Ooh.
Yes. Ooh. Man, I wish HasFit, maybe they're, wishful thinking, but maybe HasFit could be a sponsor someday. HasFit, great free workout resources, everybody. HASFit.com. And it stands for Heart and Soul Fitness.
If you can't spell has, that's it for you.
Well, I feel like it's a weird word because we've talked about that before, where it's like HasFit. I has fit. That's terrible grammar.
Clearly we has not fit because we has to get new pants.
Maybe if you has fit, you don't has good grammar. You know what I mean? Maybe it's one of those things. Maybe it's a trade-off.
Man. Oh, I should tell you this. So I did find what goes with a blue blazer. And it's a lot of things.
Right.
Honestly,
That's what
you can pretty much put whatever with a blue blazer.
Nice.
And you're going to be just fine. So that was good. However, you can't put whatever with a blue blazer. You have to put pants that actually fit you with the blue blazer. So that's one. It was kind of an asterisk there, but I think we'll make it through. Taylor, this has been quite a strange and interesting episode.
It sure has.
I feel like we've revealed a little bit more about ourselves than maybe we should have. But also at the same time, I believe in transparency. I believe in honesty, and I believe that we are going to get back in shape.
Yeah,
it's hard, man. It's hard.
It is hard.
I think back, in life is full of a lot of things. I don't want to look back and be like, I just wish I would have done this, this, and this, and this. And I think working out's one of those things where it's like, I look back on this last year, and I think it's very important for us to give ourselves grace as we look back over this last year. It was a hard year, right? Yeah. I definitely, I've mentioned this in the past. I turn to sweets when I'm feeling things, which is quite often.
Yeah.
But it's just, this past year was hard. There was a lot of anxiety. There was a lot of, uncertainty. And as it turns out, cookies help with that. Now they don't make it. They make it better, but they don't it. They don't cure it. So,
no.
But I do want, and I've talked to myself about that over the last week or so. Of but you made it through this last year, and things are looking up, and it's just time to put on the old running shoes and go for a walk because I'm not running, not yet. I'll get there.
Getting there.
We're getting there. Anyways, Taylor, as always, it's a joy to talk to you. I always look forward to these episodes, and I almost just said we've got some exciting things coming, but we really don't. We just have the same.
Here's the thing, that space movie draft, that thing could drop at any second.
It really could. It really could. Actually, probably not right now because we're now getting back into shape, so I won't be watching as many movies.
Oh, that's right.
That's not true. It will be. However, have you been watching anything recently? Because I've been watching a couple of things. Maybe let's talk about that on the next episode.
Yes. We'll save that. We'll put a pin in that.
put a pin in it. Anyways, Taylor, as always, I'm just happy to be here.
Man, I appreciate you, appreciate our conversations, and I am just happy to be here.
JHTBH.